Rich Shay here with another unboxing. This time, it's Dan Hallagan's Obsession. So, I had seen the Kickstarter for this game and hadn't been terribly excited about the concept. But then at EuroQuest, John Weber talked me into trying it. He was really excited about the game. And man, he was right to be so. This game is basically Downton Abbey in a box. Each player is managing their family's estate and fortunes. The rule book is filled with story, art, period photographs were obtained from somewhere. You can see there's a lot of things. There are cards for people, rooms in your house. There's a solo play version with AI. You'll see that you have butler, a housekeeper. You might have an under butler. You'll have a footman, ladies' maid, and valet, and maybe more. Player tracks some money. There's like guests coming to your house. You expand your mansion. There's some secret objective cards. Colorful, not super colorful art, but it's very period. It's very thematic. This game has so much theme, I'm astounded. So as you can see, the rules are fairly detailed. This is more like an overview. And there's a whole section on courtship. There are rules for solitaire play. Endgame scoring is important. Then there's the glossary, which explains the rules in details, but has an extremely detailed backstory. This is all backstory. Reads like a Downton Abbey-like thing. There's an explanation, both rules details and some period information, like what butlers do, the butler's pantry, the butler's rooms. So the details you don't maybe need every minute are in here. Explanations of the individual things, rules, justifications for some of the rules too. I was very impressed with the rules book that I saw. Even some information on victory point distribution for really competitive players. Each family is slightly different. The player boards are very similar except for the family crest. The differences are basically setup aspects. And as you can see, they went to the trouble making them all look different, even though they have similar functionalities. So each player will have one of those. Each player has an organizer for their estate. The rooms come in various classes, and you put them under there because keeping track of how many victory points worth of each class is really important. Here's the game turn board where you track the turns. This is the 16 turn version of the game. If you want to, you can play the longer 20 turn version of the game. And the wedding bells here, there's some theme cards and victory point cards that are important, and we'll look at those later. But part of the theme here is that there are two very eligible new arrivals from a well-to-do family and you're trying to attract their attention. Also, there are places where the guest cards, single fleur-de-lis, those are sort of casual guests, and these are the prestige guests. You can hire more servants. There are some objective cards, hidden game end objectives, and the rooms that are available in the builder's market with a sort of traditional, this is the cost for the room that's under there, and the room tile itself might have an additional or discounted cost. And as they get bought, they move down. So the ones that are up here are more expensive, but you can grab them earlier, and as they drift down here, they get a little less expensive. The die-cut parts, each of these is a room. These are the more prestigious rooms. The sculpture garden is just victory points are down here, an ongoing addition of prestige. You can see that this has costs extra, whereas the gabled conservatory here doesn't cost any extra, but also only has one victory point. Also, many of the rooms, not this kind of room, have a function where you would put the butler and 3 family members could go to the West Terrace. Then you'd be allowed to add a new prestige guest to your hand of guests. These are reputation level markers which can be maxed out. A reminder that something like this is going to happen every turn. The die cut pieces are pretty thick. They're nice. Those are coins. There's other kinds of rooms. Seems to be a sheet matching each kind. There are some differences in what rooms you use each game based on the number of players. These rooms are less about direct victory points. These are like special abilities. This is how you hire new servants. Sporty things like the billiards room and the bowling green, the riding stables, or the big game trophy room, not vegan friendly. The rest of the components are this lovely bag to draw the rooms out of, a score sheet for endgame scoring. I think I put some of those in plastic. 20-sided die. I think it's only used in the solo versions. A set of bonus cards. I guess I won't go into it here, but when you get the prestigious couple, one of them to come to your house to be courted, you get one of these victory point cards. You can either save it for points at the end of the game or turn it in for an action at some point during the game when you really need it. Then there are a deck of hidden objective cards. This one on the bottom, I actually did this in the first game I played, is you have to get these specific rooms. Most of them are easier to do than this. This is probably the single hardest one. Everybody gets a selection of them, but you have to discard some of them. So by the end of the game, you're only holding one or two, although you can acquire more. And these are the guest and family member cards. I'm going to go through some of these quickly. Here's a not so prestigious guest. You only need to be a level 1 rep to get him. He actually costs you a victory point at the end of the game. But he's a cad, and you can end up with him. He requires that you have a valet available. Let me make sure that's right. Yes, a valet available to take care of him. You get money when he shows up, when he comes to one of your events, but you lose a reputation point. He's not very good. Or you could get stuck with Colonel Clark, who's poor. He needs a footman, not a valet, which is a little easier. You get reputation for having the guy come, but he costs you money. The last thing you want. Not everybody in the casual deck is a loser. Many of them are good. This Miss Penelope Hill, you get one of her prestige friends to add to your collection later, and she's worth a victory point at the end. You have to be level 2 to have her show up, but she's pretty good. So the casual ones, it's kind of iffy whether they're going to help you or not, but you'll need some of them just to build up your hand. There's some player aid cards. Like other deck builders, there's a mechanism for sort of like Concordia, where you play your cards, and then after you've got down and played them all, and they're in your discard pile, you might have to take a turn to get your discard pile back. So here's a family member from the Ponsonby family, the Earl of Ponsonby. So when you play him, he doesn't require any extra servants. He collects the money from the peasants, and he's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. This is the son, where he can be money or reputation, depending on what you want him to do. Oh, that's Mabel, the Countess. That's the mother. So she can either get new guests or actually send not so suitable guests away from the family. And the daughter, who can also get an extra bonus if you can have her like escorted by a suitable bachelor. So each of the families has these 4 cards, except the Esquith family, which has a 5th card. Their dowager aunt hangs out with them. These it's Elizabeth and Charles Fairchild. They're the people you'd like to have come be courted by members of your family. If you can get them to stick around, they only stick around for a year at a time, but they're 8 points if you have them at the end of the game. That, I think, represents serious courtship. And then there are the prestige guests, who may require a lot of servants, but do a lot of things, and they're worth a lot of victory points if you have them at the end of the game. And then the last set of components are the help. So These are the underbottlers and some markers that you need to keep track of things. Oh, right. Each player has will need one of these to keep track of their family's prestige. You basically, the way it works is, on the track, let's get the track out. You move your prestige up or down. You can spend prestige to recover from some things. Each time you pass the top, you increase the reputation level 1 here, and you keep going around that sort of rondelle thing. And the underbutlers in black, and then each of the colors is something else. Green are the valets. Purple are the ladies' maids, and also the turn markers in there. Blue are the butlers. Everybody has one. White are the footmen, and wait, there's another marker. I'm not sure what we're marking with the white marker. Let me check. There's 2 pawns. The white one is the turn marker. The purple one, oh, is the start player marker. That's right, and it goes around. So those are all the components. It's a really fun game. If you like Theme or Downton Abbey, this is definitely worth trying. Unfortunately, it's in kind of limited supply. I'm not sure you'll see it in the retail market. Kayenta Publishing, actually the designer, has copies available. You can look them up, Kayenta Games, and contact them directly to get them. I hope somebody has the sense to publish this in larger numbers in the future. It's a great game. It's so much fun. Whether it's a kind of finely tuned competitive game that I like to play, I don't even care. I just enjoyed playing it a lot, making the decisions, trying to make my family's estate better, and make all the things in the game work. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, wait, I forgot. There's also an expansion, the Wessex expansion, which adds a 5th potential family with a different extra cards and a board. The Wessex basically begin with an extra room, but the room tiles that are required were actually in the original game setup. And also, there's another solo opponent. So I definitely got the expansion just because why wouldn't I? It just adds to the fun. Again, thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for future unboxings, although I'm kind of busy with the Meeple League stuff. That's a home for competitive gaming that I and some friends have been working on for a while. We've expanded it with online tournament play. Now we're going to be appearing at PAX Unplugged. We're helping them out with their tournaments, hoping to improve tournament play, and also adding the results of some of their tournaments to our ongoing online standings. Thanks for watching. Bye.